Okay, today we're going to deal with Module 8 about performance appraisal and management by objectives. So, as we've discussed already in terms of a supervisor being a leader and at the same time being a manager, we saw in terms of management with the operations, the four functions of management: planning, organization, leading and controlling. So here in this module it will be about not only the managers planning the objective, but now it will be to subordinate delegation. This is where we see the high level of delegation of responsibility, authority and accountability to the subordinates or employees. Introduction. Management by objectives, which is called MBO, is an approach to management which emphasizes the attachment of objectives and results. It goes further than merely setting agreed objective for organizational units. Rather, it sets performance goals for individuals. Now, if they are talking about individuals here, they are seeing not the top management, not the middle management, not the supervisors, but they are seeing rather the employees, because the employees are the executive uh, people. These are the one that are implementing the objectives. So now this management is going to focus on the objectives. Remember, we have goals, we have objectives. Now here, everything will be set up based on what the employees are producing. So that way, with the level of the definition of the objectives. So MBO started initially as means for motivating people to performance appraisal, and more recently has been applied in strategic planning. So you see, when they're talking about performance appraisal, they're seeing what the employees are doing. Remember, in controlling in N4, we have seen that we have to monitor what the people are doing to assess the variance or deviation and to correct. So this is where now you have to you have to initiate the objectives at that level, what the employees have to um, produce based on the objective. So that means the productions fulfill the objectives at the levels. So Coins and Woolrich define MBO as a comprehensive managerial system which integrates many key managerial activities in systematic manner, and that is consciously directed toward effective and efficient achievement of organizational and individual objectives. So though we are talking about employees, but still we remain in the range of the goals and objectives defined already by the top management. The MBO process, starting the program. Ideally, an MBO program starts at the top of the organization with top management communicating the following. As you said, everything starts with the top management. Why they have adopted MBO? Why they think it will achieve? The fact that they have accepted MBO and are committed to it. Remember, I said the difference with the former management we have seen and the new management in terms of MBO. The former management that you've seen, conservative, was about the management, the top management setting the goals and communicate the goals to the middle management. The middle management work out the objectives, communicate it to the supervisors. The supervisor work out the daily or tactical objective to the employees. But now, in this new management that we are about to see, the MBO. So everything is brought to the level of the employees. So they've adopted that top management adopted that now the objective must be defined at the level of the employees, and the achievement also is there. So the employees now are involved in the planning, organizing, leading and controlling the objectives at their own level. Establishment of organizational goals. In general, objectives are set to coincide with the annual budget, but this is not necessarily the best scenario for the following reasons. So you see, when people or the top management are defining the objective, is based on the annual budget. Now, certain goals should be scheduled for accomplishment in much shorter period and others in much longer period. This is where now we must make sure that you are able to define what to be accomplished in shorter period and what to be accomplished in long period. As one proceeds down the organizational hierarchy, the length of time set for accomplishing goals tend to be shorter. The goals set at the top are aimed at providing guidelines for the managers lower down the hierarchy to set the objective and establish plans and budget. So you see, the top management, they start with the goals, can be 1 year, 5 years, but the management, they have to lower this so that throughout the line and the hierarchy, they will see how the objective can be accomplished and established at the lower level. The goals which the supervisor set are viewed as preliminary and based on an analysis of what can and should be accomplished by the organization within a specific time. Because supervisors now are dealing with the employees or subordinates, the workers. These are the workers we are going to implement the objective. So at this level, it's good to make sure that the objectives are well defined, because if once the objective has been accomplished at this level, eventually the goals also will be achieved. The MBO process, we continue. Collaboration goal setting, that people are there called as the goal setters. This is the core component of MBO. The steps in the process are: superiors tell the subordinate what organizational and unit goals have been established. Superiors then meet with subordinate on one-to-one basis to set objective for each subordinate. Each objective should be as verifiable as possible and have a time frame for its accomplishment. The superior plays the role of counselor in the goal setting meeting and guides the subordinate to ensure that the subordinate's goals are attained. Lastly, the meeting should spell out the resources that the subordinate will need to work efficiently toward goals attainment. So this is what we have said already, that MBO has lowered the level of planning objectives at the level of the employees. So the subordinates are involved in the process of setting goals, because these are the people that they are achieving, that implementing the objective. These are the people they need to define their own resources, their own way, their own skills, their own everything that they need, all the factors that they need, so that the objective will be accomplished. So if it's lowered at this level, it's much better to understand how the goals will be achieved, because the employers that play, employers are playing a role, a major role in terms of accomplishing the objectives. The goals. Now, the subordinate and the superior or supervisors, they're there to help now to work together. They're there as a coach. They're there as a counselor. They're there as a leaders with the working with the subordinate, helping subordinate to define their own objective, helping subordinate to define their own resources, helping subordinate to find their own procedures, way of accomplishing the objectives. Period reviews. You should conduct regular reviews once goals have been set. At these reviews, goals can be added to, deleted from, and discussed in the light of changes in the goals of the organizations or the department. So you see that we've said that as a goal setting, the supervisor is working with the employees. Once everything is set up and kept as a program, now we need to review each and every time a certain period. The supervisor will sit down again with the employees and discuss the progress. Through discussion is actually as controlling. Through the discussion, the supervisor will monitor, they'll find out if there are variances, if there are deviations, what will be the solution, and they'll take action. So that way they say they can change, they are flexible, they can change the goals, they can remove some, they can add a new one, so that we have light of change in everything they're doing for the improvement of the company. Evaluation. At the final stage of the MBO cycle, the manager meets with each subordinate to review the attainment of the objective. See, each and every one is dependent field. So each and every one has discussed the objective with the supervisor. So once they've accomplished, so they have to do the evaluation. Finally, the employees are rewarded or not depending on how well they reach their objective. So you see that employees in MBO are very involved in terms of defining the objectives of the company. Setting objectives. Some points to include on the checklist for manager objectives. You see, we said that in MBO, managers are setting objectives together. So there is delegation of responsibility, authority, accountability to the subordinate. They sit down, the subordinate, they start discussing on the objective at the level of subordinate. So these are some points which are going to help us to see how can we set the objective. The first one, do the objectives cover the main features at my job? These are the questions you may asking, and the answers will help you to set the objective. Is the list objective too long? If so, can I combine some objectives? Are the objectives verifiable? Do the objective indicate quantity, quality, time, cost? These are very important because remember we said objective must be measured. Remember SMART must be specific, that means measurable, that means agreed, that means must be realistic, and also in terms of the time frame. So you see, when we are discussing about the objective, sometimes if it's about the resources, we'll see the quantity, we'll see the standard, about quality, we'll see the time, the deadline, and the cost, how much it's going to cost for the company. Are the objectives challenging yet reasonable? Are priorities assigned to the objectives? Does the set of objectives also include improvement objectives, personal development objectives? Are the objectives coordinated with those of other managers and the organizational unit? Are priorities assigned to the objective? Does the set objective also include improvement objective, personal development objective? Are the objectives coordinated with those of other managers or organizational unit? Have I communicated the objective to all who need to be involved? Are the short-term objectives consistent with long-term aims? Are the assumptions underlying the objective clearly and identified? Are the objectives expressed clearly and are they in writing? Do the objective provided for timely feedback so that I can take any necessary corrective steps? Are my resources and authority sufficient for achieving the objectives? Have I given the individuals who are expected to accomplish objectives a chance to suggest the objectives? Do my subordinates have control over aspects for which they are assigned responsibility? So you see, in all of this, when the subordinate has seen that is really involved in the process, so even his commitment to achieve, the level of commitment to achieve the objective is higher. Effective MBO programs. We have 6 elements in MBO programs. The first one, commitment to a program. Managers at all levels need to be committed to achieving personal and organizational objective and to the MBO progress. Top level goal setting. Effective MBO program start with top managers, determine the organizational or organization's strategy and setting preliminary goals. Individual goals. In effective MBO program, the manager and subordinate has clearly defined job responsibilities and objectives. Participation. The greater the participation of both managers and subordinates in setting goals, the more likely that the goals will be achieved. Autonomy in the implementation of plans. Once objectives have been set and agreed upon, the person has a wide choice of means to achieve them. Review of performance. Managers and subordinates meet regularly to review the progress toward achieving the objective. So you see that in these 6 elements of MBO program, the manager is working with the subordinate. So they lowered everything to the level of subordinate. There is cooperation, and the manager is just there to coach and to control what the subordinate are doing. But the subordinate is playing a major role in MBO program. Benefit and weaknesses of MBO. In terms of benefit, the main benefit of MBO is improved employee motivation. This is very important because when the subordinate or employee seen that is involved in all the process of defining the objective, the level of commitment, self-esteem, self-confidence is increased. So this guy will be really committed to improve, to prove that he's capable of doing what they have decided by the direct leadership of the manager. Improvement managing. MBO results in greatly improved management because the manager is not working alone. The manager now is working together with the employees. In order for objective to be set, there has to be planning. How are they planned? Together with the employees. Clarification of organization. Management by objectives forces managers to clarify the roles and structures of the organization. They are clarifying toward the employees so that the employees will know clearly. Encouragement of personal commitment. That is the major role we said the employees are playing in the MBO. They must be encouraged personally to be committed for the setting of objectives. MBO encourages people to commit themselves to the goals. Development to effective controls. Control is very important. As you said, the manager is there for counseling and for coaching the employees to accomplish, to fulfill, to achieve their own individual goals that they have defined. In addition to aiding planning, MBO helps with the development of effective control. Control involves measuring results and taking steps to correct deviations from plans in order to make sure that goals are achieved. Benefit and weaknesses of MBO. Let's now see the weaknesses. Lack of top management commitment, because once everything is delegated to the employee, doesn't mean that the manager will sit down and relax. They're still working together with the employee. If we create a gap management, then it becomes the weakness of MBO. Some organizations decide to use MBO but then leave it to lower management to implement it. No, though they are implementing it, but still, as a supervisor, you must be still there for counseling and coaching what the people and reviewing, we said it, what they are doing. It fails to motivate others in the organization to become committed to the program. Failure to teach the philosophy of MBO. When during this, when you are there, before you delegate everything to the employees, make sure that these employees must be trained. They must understand the philosophy of the new program so that they work together with the manager. Failure is failure to teach the concept of self-control and self-direction, which are the cornerstone of MBO philosophy. When we say in MBO philosophy, we delegate everything to the level of subordinate. Now, the subordinate must have the self-control and self-direction, because the manager is there just for the review. He's there for counseling, is there for coaching if there is any problem. So the people, employees must understand this level of problem. Failure to give guidelines to goal setters. If we don't have good guidelines with the people, it will be very difficult for them to set their own goals. Because remember, there is routine. If you carry on with a routine, we didn't set new goals. When we are talking about goals, we have to bring something new, innovation, creativity. So we have to avoid routine, to be conservative. In MBO, conservative, if we are using conservative ideas, so there's nothing new that we bring in the progress of our company. Difficult of setting goals. It is difficult to set truly verified goals which provide enough challenge to the staff member. You see, sometimes we may have subordinates we are afraid of risk, so they avoid the new, because everything is new, everything that you don't know, there is risk and afraid. So we have to make sure that the people must be prepared to face new difficulties. Think that they must be ready for challenge. Some managers, especially if they are a directive authoritarian, may find it extremely difficult to lead people in a participative, human-centered, supportive style. Yes, here you see that we said everything is lower to the level of the employee. Employee is the one defining the objective, the one implementing the objective. The manager is there to coach them. So if a manager is authoritarian, wants himself to be managerial philosophy, so this will break everything. We won't reach anymore the MBO. The subordinate may try to easily attainable goals in order to look good when meeting with a senior to review progress. So the reviewing is very important, so that we check on the progress, what the employee is doing, to see if really we are trending toward the accomplishment of the objective. Emphasis on short-term goals. Most often managers set goals for a quarter and only occasionally for a year. There is a danger that these short-term goals are attained at the expense of long-term goals. Short-term goals are set as sub-goals of the long-term objective. We said the goals are divided into objective and the employees that are dealing with objective. When the objective are accomplished ultimately, and the goals also will be attainable. Benefits and weaknesses of MBO continue. With weaknesses, danger of inflexibility. These are mostly the authoritarian or conservative managers. They don't want to change, or they're used to routine. MBO doesn't work with routine. MBO works with creativity, new challenge. Managers can become inflexible about changing their goals. You see, because they are conservative, they want routine. But MBO will have to review and to change. If possible, change must intervene. Although goals lose their impact if they are changed too often due to not being well thought out. Yes, so we must be careful if everything that you are doing, that you're talking about the weaknesses. Not changing them because of change in corporate objective or policies is foolish. So that's it about routine. It's not about routine here, it's about creativity, innovation in the company, so that everyone is involved, everyone understands the philosophy of the company, and everyone moves in one direction. Difficulties comparing performance. It's difficult to compare one person's performance with another's, or to a standard to which everybody is compared. This is the work of the manager to see if really because we are dealing individually, so each and every person has got its own objective to accomplish. So manager, it be difficult for manager to compare, to evaluate, to appraisal of what people are doing. In MBO, standard of performance are personal and not uniform throughout a department. Inappropriate for hourly workers. So these are the people, casual people that you are taking maybe just for a short period of time. It can't work with MBO. According to Beach, MBO is appropriate for technical, professional, supervisory, and executive personnel. This position offers enough latitude and room for discretion, which make it possible for the person to take part in the setting of new work goals, tackle new projects, or to put their mind to the new ways to solve problems. These are want everyone to be involved. So MBO is not applicable for hourly workers as the jobs are too restricted in scope. Evaluation of MBO goal setting. MBO should improve performance if goals are realistic and accepted by the employees involved. Individuals who set their own goals aim for improvement on past performance. That is, MBO is to improve his creativity, to drop the routine and to go to the new stuff. If they achieve this improvement, the higher goal was set, and if they did not achieve the goal, they set a more conservative level for the next period. So we must avoid routine. We must avoid to be conservative. We need to bring new things in our management. Feedback on performance. Providing feedback generally results in better performance review. It also had a positive effect on employees' attitude, create feelings of friendliness, increased confidence in management, and resulted in employee becoming more tolerant of criticism because the employee sees that is integrated in the process of management. Participation. Research indicates that participation by employees in setting goals increases the likelihood that goals will be accepted and thus achieved because they've worked out their own objectives. So there is no way for them to reject. They have to agree because everything comes from them. Participation also tends to raise the goals being set, and higher goals result in higher performance. Participation involves greater understanding and communication between the manager and subordinates. So this is about MBO. MBO is the manager and the subordinate, the working together.